Grow Model, Goal Setting and Coaching Conversations by John Whitmore. Do people keep coming to you with problems, and somehow every conversation ends the same way? You give the advice, you offer the solution, you explain exactly what they should do, they nod, they thank you, and then a few days later they come back with another problem, another confusion, another issue for you to solve. Why? Because you may be helping, but you are not always developing. You may be fixing, but not building thinkers. You may be giving answers while accidentally teaching dependence. This happens to leaders, managers, parents, mentors, coaches, business owners. We think support means telling people what to do. But if people always need your answer, they never build their own confidence to find one, and eventually you become the permanent problem solver for everyone around you. That is exhausting, and it is not sustainable leadership. This is exactly what led to the Grow model created by John Whitmore. This became known as the Grow Coaching Model, a coaching framework built on one powerful truth. People grow faster when they learn to think, not just when they are told what to do. Let's break it down. The core idea. The Grow model is one of the most practical and widely used coaching frameworks in leadership development. Grow stands for Goal Reality Options. Will this simple 4-step conversation changes the leader's role completely? Instead of being the constant advice giver, the leader becomes the guide who helps the other person think clearly. That is a huge difference, because the goal is not just to solve one immediate issue. The goal is to create people who can analyze, decide, and take responsibility without always needing rescue. So what is the impact? Good coaching does not just solve problems, it builds capable people. Goal. The first stage is goal. This means helping the person define exactly what they want, not vaguely, not emotionally, clearly. Questions might be, what do you want to achieve? What result are you aiming for? What does success look like? This matters because many people are not truly stuck because they lack ability. They are stuck because they lack direction. They feel overwhelmed, busy, scattered, but they have not clearly defined the destination. And if the destination is unclear, effort becomes random. The goal stage creates focus. It gives the brain something precise to move toward. So what is the impact? When the goal becomes clear, energy stops being wasted. Reality. Once the goal is identified, the next step is reality. Now the leader helps the person examine what is actually happening. Not assumptions, not panic, not excuses, reality. Questions include, what is happening now? What is getting in the way? What have you already tried? What facts do we know? This is critical because people often think the obstacle is external, when sometimes the obstacle is internal. Sometimes the issue is confidence, sometimes poor planning, sometimes skill gaps, sometimes avoidance. The reality stage strips away emotional fog and reveals the current truth, and without seeing truth clearly, solutions stay shallow. So, what is the impact? You cannot navigate forward if you refuse to see where you currently stand. Options. Now comes options. This is where the leader encourages wider thinking. Instead of saying, here's what you should do, the leader asks, what could you do? What alternatives do you have? What else is possible? And then pushes further. What else? What else? Why is this important? Because most people stop at the first obvious answer, and the first answer is usually the safest answer, not necessarily the smartest. Options force mental flexibility. They expand perspective. They reduce helplessness. The person begins to realize, I'm not trapped in one route. There are choices, there are possibilities, there are actions available. So what is the impact? Options turn mental stuckness into mental movement. Will. The final step is will. This is where reflection becomes commitment. Without this stage, coaching stays theoretical. Now the leader asks, What will you do? By when? What is your first action? How committed are you from 1 to 10? This locks the conversation into accountability, because people often enjoy discussing ideas, but results only come from decided action. The will stage makes the person leave with ownership, no longer just understanding, but responsibility. So what is the impact? Action is the bridge between insight and change. Why this model matters today. Think about modern workplaces. Managers are overwhelmed, leaders are stretched, teams need constant support. And if every issue must always be solved by the manager becomes the bottleneck. Nothing grows, nothing speeds up, people stay dependent. This is why command and control leadership is becoming less effective. Modern organizations need thinkers, problem solvers, self-starters, accountable employees, and those people are not developed by constant instruction. They are developed by better coaching conversations. So what is the impact? The GROW model turns leaders from firefighters into people developers. Real workplace example. Imagine one of your staff comes to you and says, "I'm struggling with deadlines and I don't know how to get on top of everything." A traditional manager instantly replies, "Use a planner, prioritize, work faster, focus." Advice is given, but dependence remains. Now imagine using GROW. Goal: what specifically do you want to improve? Reality: what is currently causing the delays? Options: what possible changes could help? Will: which one are you going to commit to this week? Now the employee is not passively receiving instruction. They are actively thinking, analyzing, owning. That is the GROW model in action. Advantages and disadvantages. Advantages: highly simple to apply, creates employee ownership, builds thinking skills, reduces manager dependency, improves accountability, works in many types of conversations. Disadvantages: requires patience. Leaders must learn good questioning skills. Some people initially prefer direct answers, can feel slower than giving advice. Where you see this today. The GROW model is used in executive coaching, management, development, performance reviews, mentoring sessions, career conversations, education, parent coaching, anywhere someone wants to develop another person instead of constantly rescuing them. The GROW model is highly effective. So, what is the impact? Better questions create stronger, independent thinkers. Key insight. John Whitmore taught us something deeply powerful. Every time you give all the answers, you may solve today's problem, but every time you ask the right questions, you help build tomorrow's capability, because advice creates temporary relief. But coaching creates long-term growth, and leaders who solve everything themselves often stay exhausted, while leaders who build thinkers create stronger teams around them. So the real leadership question becomes, are you trying to be everyone's answer, or are you helping people become more capable without you? Because one creates dependence, the other creates development. So ask yourself, in your next conversation, will you speak first or question first? Take a moment, pause and reflect. Grab a pen, pencil it down. One person in your life who needs more questions from you than advice, because growth often begins when the conversation changes. I hope this brought value to you. And I'm wishing you abundant success. Take a moment, pause for thought. What would you like to learn and explore next?